2001, we had a terrorist attack in New York City, the Pentagon, and Shanksville, Pennsylvania. There was over 2,977 lives lost on a single day, and I think it's important that America never forgets that, because it was a terrorist attack against our country, but not only a country, it attacked our world. There's over 90 countries lost citizens that day in the Twin Towers. So it's much more than just what happened to America, it's what happened to us globally. I feel it's important to keep the memory alive. My parents had the Pearl Harbor of their time, and I think this generation coming up now, 9/11 is the Pearl Harbor of their time. And that's why it's important to keep the fields going so the memory stays alive. I started this field in 2003. This is going to be our 14th year setting it up in the field. Years ago, I was able to go back to ground zero and walk around the site. At the time, the building was 35 stories high. Across the street from ground zero, there was a small temporary museum. And inside that museum, in one of the rooms, there was a piece of I-beam that belonged to Tower 1 that was scorched and twisted, and it was tons of steel. In the room, on all four walls, had photos. It was wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling photos of all the victims. And it was a dimly lit room, and I went in and I was looking at all the faces. And I went up to the beam, and I just put my hand on it. And from that moment on, I can't tell you in words what happened, but the 9/11 field became a calling. And that's why I continue to do it 14 years later. I'm turning it over to my daughter to take it from the 20 years forward, and we're in the process of getting her to know the news and the city people that give us permission to use the property. But it's just become a calling for me. The way the field actually got started, to give you some history on the field, in 2001, when it happened, on the day that horrific day happened, I went to work, and I worked all day, but I just was getting filled with anger through the day. What I know today, it wasn't anger, it was fear. And I had to do something. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I had to do something. So when I got off work, I went home, I took the flag that I keep in my garage that used to only hang out on holidays. Okay? And then I started driving around with this flag, having no idea what I was going to do. But what it ended up was at the O Street overpass over I-5 that connects by the Crocker Art Gallery that goes over towards Old Sac. And I got up there in the back of my truck. I double parked on the overpass, and I started waving the flag from the back of my truck at the traffic. And it was a 5 o'clock hour, bumper to bumper on I-5. And the response was absolutely incredible. People were blowing their horns, they were flashing their lights, there was a fire truck that turned on their lights, and I knew at that time I was going to do something every 9/11. I didn't know what. 14 years later, here it is. You know, it has grown. The first time we were in this flag 14 years ago, we had 14 flags. And now we have over 500 3x5 foot American flags, and we have 2,977 4x6 inch flags that represent the victim that died on that day.
My name is Richard Hannaford. I'm a survivor from that day, September 11th of '01. I came out of Tower 2 from the 84th floor. And just luckily, by the grace of God, I'm here today. I've lost 100+ people, friends, some as close as family that day. And coming away, I mean, my world's changed. The whole time that whole day, I kept expecting, it was very surreal. I kept expecting one of our superheroes to come in and save the day. Unfortunately, they weren't there, but we managed to get through safe. Like I said before, there were a lot of people that can't say that today. They can't even speak for themselves. Through it, I don't know. You know, what I've taken away from it? Well, it changed the world dramatically. Just try to get on a plane today. And, you know, I'm constantly looking over my shoulder. I don't like being in tight spots. You know, prior to that, Didn't matter where it was. Now I'm like poignantly aware of it. And it was an unfathomable event up until September 11th of '01. And even here 17 years later, you know, its impact hasn't been lost. It's as clear today as it was then. And I don't know what to do with it during the year, but I know that I get it into the right place. I spend time here, and it's a peaceful, thoughtful, you know, provocative tribute to those killed that day.
September 11th, 2001, to me, marks a day of a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety and also a lot of anger. But it is displays like this that remind me of what happened on that day in 2001, was that everyone was afraid out of their mind, everyone was scared, everyone was angry, but yet we made the decision, the conscious decision, to stand together as Americans for a common good. And I really feel like September 11th, 2001 brought us together as Americans in a way that we have never had before, at least in our generation. So on this September 11th, I just want to say thank you to all the patriots out there who currently do defend our freedom and did defend our freedom even in the face of terrorism when it wasn't their choice. I want to say thank you to all you out there that stand and fight for our freedom here in America.